Commander Jothik of the Vortan hegemony stood before the viewing port of his flagship, mandibles clicking in what his species considered amusement. Behind him, his tactical officers studied the approaching vessel with instruments that could dissect a star's composition from 3 light-years away. "Analysis complete, Commander," his second-in-command reported, her crystalline voice tinged with dismissal. The vessel measures approximately 2 kilometers in length. Hull composition is primarily refined iron and carbon alloys. Propulsion system appears to be controlled fusion with supplementary chemical thrusters. Energy signature is negligible. Jothik's 4 eyes narrowed. The humans had finally arrived at the contested border, just as intelligence had predicted. For 3 cycles, the hegemony had monitored Earth's desperate expansion into the outer territories. Watching these strange bipedal creatures struggle with technology the Vortans had mastered millennia ago, they still used combustion. They still relied on visible light for navigation. Primitive didn't begin to describe it. "Establish communication," Jothik ordered. "Let us educate these newcomers about territorial sovereignty." The human ship, designated UHSV Indomitable, hung in space like a scarred monument to outdated engineering. Its hull bore the marks of countless micrometeor impacts, hastily welded repairs, and what appeared to be actual rivets. The Vortan officers exchanged glances of poorly concealed contempt. This was what humanity sent to negotiate? A face appeared on the view screen, a human male with graying hair and eyes that had seen too many solar flares. Captain Marcus Chen of Earth's United Fleet inclined his head in greeting. "Commander Jothik, I presume. I'm here to discuss the mining rights to the Kepler 442 system." Jothik's translator rendered the human's words, but couldn't quite capture what his empathic sensors detected, an undercurrent of something his databases labeled as resigned determination. "There is nothing to discuss. Captain Chen, this system falls within hegemony space. Your presence here is illegal. You will withdraw immediately, or your primitive vessel will be disabled and impounded." Chen's expression didn't change. "Commander, my government has invested considerable resources in the colonization mission, already en route to Kepler 442b. 30,000 civilians. We need those minerals. I'm authorized to offer compensation, partnership, or your authorizations are irrelevant." Jothik cut him off. "You will leave or you will be removed. The hegemony has defended this border for 10,000 of your years. We have shattered fleets that would make your entire species tremble. Do not test our patience with your scrap metal." A long silence followed. Captain Chen looked away from the screen, then back. Something in his eyes had changed. "Commander, I want you to understand something about humans. We're not proud of this, but we're very, very good at one thing: kinetic warfare. We've been killing each other with rocks, metal, and explosives since we climbed down from the trees. We've turned it into an art form." Jothik's mandibles clicked in genuine amusement now. "Kinetics? You threaten us with kinetics? Our shields can deflect relativistic particles. Our point defense can intercept." "I'm not threatening you, Commander. I'm warning you. Please reconsider the partnership." The Vortan commander had heard enough. Weapons disabled their propulsion. Non-lethal suppression. Energy lances shot across the void, impacts that should have crippled the human ship's engines. The Indomitable's shields, such as they were, flared and failed within seconds. Direct hits scorched the hull plating. Warning klaxons would be screaming on their bridge. But the human ship didn't slow. It didn't turn. It accelerated. "Commander," his tactical officer's voice carried a note of confusion. "The human vessel it's diving toward the system, heading directly for the gas giant. A desperate escape attempt. Track them and, sir, they're not attempting a slingshot maneuver. They're heading straight for the planet's core trajectory." Chen's face reappeared on the view screen. His expression was carved from stone. "Commander, you were right about one thing. This ship is primitive. We built it in orbital shipyards using techniques we perfected during our world wars. Steel and sweat. But you know what else is primitive? Physics. And humans understand physics very, very well." The Indomitable had rotated, its bow now facing the massive gas giant designated Kepler 4427. Along its spine, a structure the Vortans had assumed was a communications array began to unfold, segment after segment, extending like the barrel of an impossibly large gun. "That's a mass driver," Chen continued, his voice calm. "Electromagnetic acceleration tunnel, 2 kilometers long. We've been feeding it asteroids for the past 3 hours, compressing and shaping them into penetrators. Each one weighs 50,000 tons and will be accelerated to 0.75% of light speed. Jothik felt something his species rarely experienced: concern. You cannot possibly. We absolutely can. And we did. The first round entered the planet's upper atmosphere 40 seconds ago. It's already past the point where your point defense could intercept it. On every Vorton screen, telemetry showed the impossible: a solid mass of compressed metal and ice, moving at a significant fraction of light speed, had already penetrated through thousands of kilometers of gas giant atmosphere. The kinetic energy was incomprehensible, not from any exotic technology, but from simple, brutal momentum. The planet began to die. The penetrator struck the metallic hydrogen layer with the force of a stellar ignition. The shock wave rippled outward at supersonic speeds, creating a pressure cascade that converted half the planet's mass into an expanding debris field. The gas giant didn't explode, it simply came apart, its magnetic field collapsing, its core exposed to the void. Within 30 seconds, Kepler 4427 had transformed from a stable celestial body into an expanding ring of superheated plasma and shattered matter. Jothik stared at the readings, his 4 eyes wide with something approaching horror. The humans had just destroyed a planet with kinetic force alone. No antimatter. No exotic particles. Just mass and velocity. We don't want war, Commander, Chen said quietly. We want partnership. But if you push us, we will show you what humanity learned in 10,000 years of killing each other with sticks and stones. We will show you what primitive really means. The Vorton flagship's alarm shrieked as debris from the shattered planet began to spread through the system. Jothik's tactical officer looked at him, waiting for orders. The commander's mandibles had stopped clicking. Helm, he said slowly, transmit a message to Hegemony Command. Inform them that the Kepler 442 system is open to negotiation, and recommend that all border fleets receive updated threat assessments on human capabilities. He looked back at the scarred, riveted primitive ship that had just rewritten the strategic balance of the sector. Tell them the humans fight like their gods are watching, and tell them we should be very, very careful about what we call primitive. On the view screen, Captain Chen nodded once, then cut the transmission. The Indomitable rotated slowly and began its journey back to Earth, leaving behind a shattered planet and a very different understanding between two species.